Hello, friends. Welcome again to Creating You in the Universe. My name's Leah.
I'm Sandra.
And today we have a very divine topic. It's all about that sacred wisdom, that sacred intelligence within you, and the miracles really that come from it, because I feel like miracles are things that happen without us even, it's not our hand physically doing, you know.
Right.
Do you agree?
I agree, 100%.
So today we're talking about that wisdom, that sacred intelligence within. And before we get into it, we're going to start with our intention. So take it away, Sandra.
I knew you were going to throw that at me. Good thing I practiced. No? My intention for anyone who comes across this, whether it's past, present, future, you feel the magic of the divine, the magic of the sacred intelligence flow through you, guide you, and put you on the right path, whatever that looks like for you.
Beautiful. So this topic came up because I wanted to share this fun moment I had with my son. And this moment was Sandra helped our family go on vacation. And we're coming home from this vacation and we're looking at the mountains around us. Me and my two sons, and I'm looking at the trees and I'm just in awe. I don't know why I'm in awe. You know how it is when you're looking at nature and you're like, wow, it's so beautiful. Well, like, this was me for 3 hours straight. Just beautiful, beautiful scenery. And the specific thing that was catching my eye to share with my son was the trees. And how when you look at the trees on the mountainside, they are all just perfectly placed amongst each other like this jigsaw puzzle, but there was no arborist that came through and was like, hey trees, we're gonna trim you because you're a little close to that one, and the ecosystem here really needs our help to help fine tune what this tree needs to do so that it can grow in its optimal conditions for however many decades.
Yeah, it was all just pristine and magical, how it all just
is.
It is.
And so I'm expressing this beauty to my son. And I'm like, hey son, would you look at that? Nobody told that tree how to be. And then I start going off on a rant. And I'm like, look at your sister. I don't know why I'm talking like this, but
that's okay, go with it.
I'm third
Someone
person
wants to hear
right
it
now.
like that.
Yeah. Your sis. Anyways, he has a little sister, and his little sister's under 1, and she's learning how to crawl and she's learning how to walk. And I brought up this idea that nobody taught her how to grow. No one was coaching beside her, like, okay, now lift
knees up.
Use that head to pull up your body. Although they do that.
Yeah.
And it opened up this conversation that there is an inner wisdom. There is a sacred intelligence within each of us that unfolds life. Like, I'm seeing sacred geometry in my head. Nobody tells us mathematically how to unfold our lives so that we are the perfect tree on the mountain that's taking in everything so divinely. Nobody tells us it is a sacred intelligence within. And how, just going back to this message with my son, whenever you feel like you are lacking direction, or you're telling yourself you don't know what to do or where to go, just know that you have this within you that will always bring you exactly where you need to be without even thinking. Just like the tree doesn't think, or the baby doesn't think on how to walk. And there's so many parallels of our lives where there is something within us that is just naturally unfolding and guiding and bringing us to. It could be for ideas, knowledge. It could be for bringing our friendships and our relationships to places they need to be. We can be so caught up on the hows and the whats and the ways to do things to get where we need to go with our career or our relationships, when in reality, I think sometimes we forget that sacred intelligence will naturally bring us exactly where we need to be.
This one was Leah. She wanted to talk about this. We always talk about everything. Most of it's intuitive. I said, I'm just going to go with the flow because I don't know. I kept trying to come up with examples and nothing was there.
You said, I'm excited for what comes out because it's waiting to unfold on film.
On film, right. So here we go. So as you were talking about that, I realized the parallel, which was funny, around the same time, maybe a little bit later, but last week, as my husband and I were doing one of our other jobs, which is driving around the city, he was noticing that there was this person that manually planted 2 pine trees right side by side. And he goes, I don't think they really thought that through because those pine trees need a lot more space between them. They're literally going to grow on top, or one's going to kill the other. And then the fence, they just put in this beautiful fence, and he goes, that fence is going to be garbage in the next couple of years because those roots are just going to come right through it and like lift up the fence and be like, here's your fence. And it's just funny of the parallel you're saying here of the beauty of that nature knows, and then just the how some humans try to do it themselves and aren't listening to. I'm positive through my life experiences and in my opinion that person was probably being told inside and was like, no, I'm going to do it anyways. And the universe was probably like, oh, I don't think this is a good idea. So they were probably feeling quite negative or having a negative resistance or feeling like nothing's working out this day and I'm just going to put these here, and then your wish is my command. Those things are going to just not work out for you in the end.
And resurface
Right.
where the sacred intelligence is going to tell you this stuff goes.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing that just came up as you were speaking was one thing that people forget, as it's so critical, when anyone that we know physically here changes states, that's what I like to refer to it as, and crosses over and into the different state of being
Not alive, basically
non-alive,
dead.
Yeah, dead.
Yes, dead.
Physical, non-physical, whatever, that it goes back into the source and becomes energy. We have the ability to tap into all of them. And it's funny, my transition, or not my transition, sorry, I'm still here. Yep,
you're here.
My thought process around it is like whenever you hear a celebrity pass away and people are like, oh, I'm so sad, I'm like, yes, I can contact them now and get that downloads. And I've always been like that ever since a little girl, knowing that once someone passes over, you have the ability to communicate now. Whereas on this planet, how can I talk to someone famous unless I'm famous or unless I know the people? Once they've crossed over, you're mine, baby. You're mine. I can download your information. You can talk to me. I can ask you questions. I can ask for guidance. How many times have people passed over and know something like they see their lover or their loved one loved like daffodils or something, and all of a sudden they'll be driving and see the daffodils. It's all those signs and that energy.
Communication from beyond.
Which is magic and divine intelligence. They go back into the divine intelligence and the universal intelligence. Whatever the title of it.
Whatever the space that needs no container, I want to say.
Mm-hmm. No label.
So I'm pulling up. I'm pulling up a blank here.
It's there for you to tap in. If you don't know how, you can always reach out. We are the Awakeners. It's something that I got a message from the universe last week. There's the sleepers, and unfortunately, I know that they hate that term. If they're awakened enough to understand that that's what it is. But you're dormant, you're living the Groundhog Day effect.
Yes, just like when you say it, I like the word, my teacher would use dormant. Mm-hmm. And he would refer to it, the chakras that haven't been, awakened. Mm-hmm. This idea that they're dormant. It's not that they're not working. It's not that they don't have access or, these energy centers don't work. It's just dormant
state.
Yeah.
So there's the sleepers, there's I could talk about woke all day, but woke is a space between awakened and sleepers where they can start to feel stuff, but there's a sense of injustice with everything, and there's a lot of it's how do you word it, like being like when someone's like puppeteering, there's a lot of puppeteering around the woke.
Yeah, for me,
right?
woke is a buzzword to articulate people who think that they've got it figured out, but there's still a lot of ego there.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of, with ego, I feel like there's a lot more room to be manipulated by powers that be. You know, I feel like it's just the best term that we have on this physical plane to describe people that are on the right path, you know?
They're starting to get starting to get the little nuggets that are being left.
That sacred intelligence is within all of us, and they've had it speak to them. And I feel like in that process of that sacred intelligence really being aware of it, it reminds me of an infant or children in general.
Yes.
While you're still in that infancy, children can be manipulated a lot easier or led astray. And it's not to have ego and say our way is the best way. Because honestly, if you don't resonate with what we're saying, it is in your best interest and highest in self to honor that niggling, nudging feeling that we aren't, you know,
your cup of tea or
exactly.
whatever. Yeah.
And so I feel like woke or awake isn't fully awakened, and it's just that best word that we can use to articulate where you are on your self-discovery and that full expression of allowing that sacred intelligence to kind of take the wheel, or recognizing the full picture that maybe you're still uncovering or learning to listen to, where Sandra and I have had many decades allowing ourselves to be present in that space because of our upbringing and because of our practices, or the things that you've spent hours and hours and months and years doing the work, researching and applying to your life, and having that inner compass being far more fine-tuned for direction than maybe somebody who's just recognizing this within them. So it's kind of a paradox, because on one hand there is an awakened or awakening process that you go through, but on the other hand,
it's painful.
But on the other hand, like the parody or the paradox is that this inner person, this knower, this sacred intelligence within, it doesn't need to be awakened. It always is.
It always is.
You do not have to search outside of yourself to be connected to that wisdom that is. And so that's where this paradox of, are you awakened? Psych, trick question. Yeah, you are. The painful process is recognizing that you always were. There was no anything outside of yourself. You always are.
You always were.
The tree didn't need direction. It just is perfect on the way that it is. So I guess with what I will round out my part of this speech is, if you're having struggles, wondering where you're going, who you are, what you believe in, know that there is a sacred intelligence within you, and you are fine just as you are. Just like when you were a baby learning how to walk. Trust me when I say you're good, you're fine. Everything's all right and as it should be. And you're just going to keep spiraling under that unfolding of sacred geometry and this expression of self. And whatever you choose truly is all right, because I promise there is something within you bringing you exactly where you need to be.
So for the message that I received was, there's different levels, and there, again, like Leah says, there's no ego involved in any of that. It just is. So sleepers, woke, awakened, and then there's the awakeners. So we're here to kind of
pump
be like,
up the volume, pump up the volume.
it's time to wake up, people. Let's go.
We got things to do.
Yeah, we got stuff to do, and it's time to just have a party here instead of it being
same old
Groundhog Day for everybody.
Sleepers.
The other piece that, when you were saying that, I'll just wrap mine up, was you can always tap into that higher. And my husband learned through me. He knew some stuff, of course. Everybody knows. He obviously adapted that and had those moments where the information, like, not right this from my moment when I'm stammering and stuttering, it came through as a higher intelligence. was when he was actually writing a test a few years ago. He was taking a course, and I said, well, why don't you just ask Source to help you? And his like, what? I said, just say I need help writing this test. And he had not had sleep the night before, and there was all these things going on, and he said, I fought it at first. I was writing, and then all of a sudden I said, okay, all right, help me write this test. And he said it just all of a sudden was like, and he was done within like 20 minutes, and he got one of the top scores. And in all of the class, he was sitting at 80%, and I think he ended up with a 95 or something on the test. And he never thought that you could use it for that application. And of course you can. They're literally our partner right there. They're like our Siamese twin, just in incognito. And you can reach in and talk to them at any point in time for anything. It's always there. They're always there. They're just waiting for you to...
The sacred intelligence within
Yeah.
that source space within us that is all-knowing. And so when I heard you speak, I'm seeing like this tool that's, it brings asking for help, and how just that simple asking gives our thinking physical brain on this dimension whatever it needs to hold on to attune back to that source of inner knowing. It's like if you don't know, now you know. No. Just full circle back. If you are struggling and you don't know the way, that simple asking your brain for help, using that tactile thinking, it's like dialing the radio station back into the inner knowing. So beautiful point is what I'm trying to say, Sandra, on bringing up that if you do not know how to ask or get there, simply asking is all you need to do, to asking for help, to attune wherever you need to be, to access that sacred intelligence within that knows. It knows. It's a knowing. It's not like, I know because my teacher taught me. It is something within, like the trees or the babies or anything else that we can apply in sacred geometry. There's a knowing. And the attunement is as quick as, I need help. Help me.
And thank you for that, because that just brought in something else. So I love intuitive work because it just comes in waves. Sometimes you're like, well, it's coming, but it's downloading. Something that you said there triggered off frequencies and tuning into the radio dial. How often I'll give this perfect example. Everyone says, or a lot of people say, when someone comes into money, how much they've changed. Oh, that person's changed their, things like that. And we go, that person already had to change their frequency and tune into a different frequency in order for the money to come. So they already changed. You just are catching up now to who they are or who they have become in order to receive that. Oftentimes, how many friendships come and go and relationships come and go because you're no longer on the same level, same frequency. So instead of being like, that person, I don't like them anymore, look at it a different way and just say, you're leveling up or they're leveling up, and you're no longer, it's uncomfortable. It's literally uncomfortable to be in the same frequency as them anymore, and just enjoy that. And if that person leveled up and left you behind, well, you have a choice. You can either practice what they did or move up along or go a different path, and vice versa. If you're the one leveling up, just understand that you're leveling up, and there's nothing wrong with the fact that they're not leveling up. Just know that it's just not the right space and frequency for you to be anymore. And you were saying something about a tree. I think no tree will grow or something like that around it.
Yeah, like we were just thinking of all the ways of this tree applying to what we're trying to communicate. If something's not meant to grow beside the tree in nature, it's just simply not going to be there. It's not right or wrong. There's not a bad other, tree for not being able to grow the same way as the other tree. It just is. And we can have space and appreciation for nature, including ourselves, just as it is. That's my best way to have peace with changing relationships in my life, if we're talking specifically about you know, whether it's friends or family, spouses, but oh, great. So here at Creating You in the Universe, we have the privilege of being moms. And with that said, this is the end of our podcast. I don't know.
Yes, we don't remember where we were. It doesn't matter. It matters is that everything happens as it is. No, everything happens how it's supposed to. I'll edit this all in and make it all functified. So.
If anyone's wondering, he is completely fine, my child,
Yes.
who was hurt. That's the sacred intelligence of knowing when to stop filming.
Yes. Be blessed, take care, and we'll see you next time.